to say we are live on YouTube. There you go. And we'll start the recording for the class. I've got a lot of things to do today, so I hope you enjoy it. Let's get started. Okay, so this is reading part A. It's Wednesday. We're going to review the format as usual. We'll talk in general about the technique, but then I really want to spend a bit of time practicing step 1 of the technique. We also did a little bit of this yesterday, if you saw the OET extra class, but this class will be a standalone. So we will start from the very beginning and make sure everyone understands everything. Can everyone see this here? Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Fantastic. Now the game, we're going to start with a very quick game. It's not really a game, I'm afraid. It's just a review of this. What's this, guys?
Synonym.
Spelling synonym.
Synonym. When did we study this?
The day before yesterday.
Monday.
Yeah, day before yesterday, Monday. Fantastic. Now, I just want to encourage anyone who hasn't watched Monday's class, go and watch that video and study this vocabulary. It's very useful for reading part A, okay? I'm going to give you guys a little test on Friday for this, but the game today is, can you remember? All right? Does anyone remember the synonyms for the word end?
Yes.
Go on, tell me if you remember.
End means
Terminate.
Terminate. Excellent. Okay, does anyone remember the second one?
Finish.
Finish.
Okay, finish. And the next,
last one.
Stop.
stop. Good. You study this document. Excellent. Next one.
Done.
Don't.
Done. And can anyone think of this one? What is it?
Cease.
Okay. So synonyms are very important in OET reading because sometimes in the question it will use this word, but in the text they will use finish or terminate or stop or cease or done. Okay. Similarly with stages, when we're talking about stages in the sense of time, right, like the early stages, does anyone remember the synonyms? Go on.
Beginning.
Phase.
Phase. Does anyone remember the next one?
Period.
Period. Does anyone remember the next one?
Moment.
Moment. And the last one?
Step.
Say that again. Step. Okay. So guys, I'm going to do this very fast because we were chatting at the start of class. So this will be a test on Friday. I'll try and test you this. So try and study it as best you can. Today, though, of course, it's a reading class. It's not a vocabulary class. We're going to try and do 3 things as we normally do. We'll start off with the format of the test. This is for people who are new to OET and maybe not 100% sure about what everything is like. Then we'll talk about the technique in general. And then we'll focus on what I call step 1, which is analyzing texts. And we will analyze many texts today. I think we've got about 6 or 7. Then there's also going to be homework in this class. I want you to analyze some texts for homework. Okay, so let's get started. Format. Can I ask Santinda, can you say hello, or Rabia? You two, it'd be great to speak to you.
Hello. Yes.
Oh, fantastic. So we'll start with Santinda. Can you say hello, Santinda?
Hello.
Santinda, have you done the exam before?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can tell me, how many questions are there in this exam?
20.
20. Is that right, guys? Is it 20 or is it 24?
24. 20.
It's 20 questions. I'm trying to trick you. Okay, it's 20 questions. And how much time do we have for this? Rabia, how much time?
50 minutes.
50 minutes. Yeah.
I'm hearing 50. 50?
15
minutes. 15 minutes. So already we can see a big problem because there are more questions than there are minutes. All right. So time is obviously very, very important here. What type of questions do we see? Bianca or Edita? Albert?
Gap filling.
There's a gap fill style. Yeah. What else? That's okay. Afra, go on. There's a match. Right, which is basically A, B, C, D, right? What else, guys?
Short answer.
Short answer, good. And this is very, very important. Where do I get the words from? Turn left. Where do the words come from for my answer?
From the text.
Yeah. So words must come from the text, right? So what that means, you cannot guess. Does that make sense, guys? For example, if the test says something like medicine, okay, if the text says medicine, you must write medicine. You can't write something like medicinal product, right? The words must come from the text, otherwise you will get 0, all right? And that's why, are we allowed to have spelling errors here? Can we have
No.
No.
0 spelling errors? Yeah, exactly. Okay, so 0 spelling errors. And the reason is words must come from, sorry, not the test, from the text. Okay, so let's think about this. So there's 20 questions, 15 minutes. You get gap fill, match, and short answer questions. What are they testing us on? Puspa, what type of reading is this? What type of reading? Say hello.
Reading.
Think about yesterday. We were listening for what? Puspa or anyone? Help her out.
Detail.
Skim and scan quickly.
It's detailed reading for detail. But yes, skimming and scanning. Yeah, what's often called skimming.
Quickly.
Looking for specific words, not comprehension so much, right? It's not testing inference or main idea or comprehension. It's just finding information really, really fast. Okay, so 15 minutes, 20 questions, 3 types of questions. The words must come from the text, and they're testing reading for detail. I think that's more or less everything, really. Oh yeah, what type of text will we read? These texts are always the same, aren't they? They're medical texts, but what specifically? What can we expect, guys?
Information.
Sometimes there will be information texts, they'll always be short, guys. So short information text, there might be guidelines. What else, guys?
Presentation.
Say that again.
Presentation.
Not so much presentation, but instructions, guidelines, protocol. Will I see emails here? Will I see? No email. Where will I see an email?
In part B.
Part B, okay. So the texts are always short texts. These are actually text functions, aren't they? But they're always short texts, giving information, giving guidelines, instructions, protocols, even classification as well, right? So those are the kind of functions of the texts we will read. Does anyone have any questions about the format of this test? Feel free to ask me. Maybe you're worried about something. Put your microphone on now. Let me know if you want. Oh, you guys are so quiet. This is great. Okay, so we're going to move on then. All right. So let's move on to talk about techniques. How do we do this part of the exam? All right. So I'm going to ask someone. Andrea, there's 2 Andreas here. Could you say hello? Or Seren? Technique. How do I start? What's the first thing I do?
We have to read text,
Read the question.
analyzing the test before.
Which one am I doing first here? Is it texts or am I looking at the questions? Am I looking at questions?
Before text.
Not read all the text.
Text, right? Do we all agree we've got to read the text first? Come on.
No, you
Quickly.
cannot read it, all the texts.
Well, when I say all of the text, I don't mean read in detail, right? But you've got to scan them,
Yes.
skim them, right? So that means quickly read all the text. I call this step 1, okay? Step 1, it's a quick read. I call this analyze the texts.
Oh, we can say scanning.
Yeah, well, it would be scanning and skimming, yes, but I'm not going to use that language today because I want to keep it more simple, right? So we analyze the text, and how long do we do that for, guys? What did I say yesterday even? How much time?
30 seconds for each text.
Approximately. Of course, you can have maybe 40 on and 20 on
2 minutes for all.
Yeah, approximately 2 minutes for all, okay? Look, you might be able to do it in less. That's great. I'm just giving you general ideas, maximum 30 seconds, okay? So we're trying to analyze the text. When we finish that, Afra, what do we do when we finish that after 2 minutes?
We read the questions.
Of course, it's step 2 now, isn't it? Yeah, we're going to read the questions and we're going to do what?
Keywords. Find the keywords.
Well, you're giving me specifics. I'm going to say answer the questions, right? Keep it simple. All right. So we answer the questions. Step 1, analyze texts. Should be plural. Step 2, answer the questions. Guys, I'm going to talk more about this one tomorrow. All right. We'll talk much more about this tomorrow. Very quickly, though, Afra, you said keywords. Is that right?
Yes, not me.
I choose a keyword, for example, let's say here. It doesn't matter what it is, guys. I choose my keyword. And then what do I do? Afra. Or maybe Maria, can you help us? What do I do next?
Should we find the answer next to the keyword or?
Do I read all 4 texts?
No, choose one.
Choose 1 or 2 texts, right? How will I know which 2 texts or which 1 text? How do I know where to find this keyword?
Find the synonyms.
Analyzing.
Because of this, right? We analyze the text already. We read touching. We think, okay, this is probably going to be in this text because this text is about treatment, for example. Okay, maybe I need to look at 2 texts, but not 4. Okay, so I choose my text. Then what do I do, guys? What do I do?
Find which one of the texts belong to the keyword.
Yeah, I find the keyword in the text, right? It can be exactly the same keyword, or it is going to be a synonym, right? So
Yes.
if this says here, end, what's the synonym for end?
Stop or sit.
We just look at
Termination.
terminate, cease, stop, right? So maybe I find cease here, right?
Yeah.
So I find my keyword. Now, Rebecca, could you say hello, Rebecca, or Maria? Do I have the answer now, or do I need to do something else?
I have to read.
I have to read around it, don't I?
Yes, around the
Quick
keyword.
analyze between the
Until I find my
Yeah.
answer.
The keyword tells me where inside the text probably the answer would be, but it doesn't give me the answer. I still have to find the answer, and the way to find the answer is, what did we say yesterday? Sorry, I've just muted everyone. Ezgi, Petruta, find the answer by what? Anyone know this answer? Category. Who said that? Yeah, who said category? So tell me, what do we mean by category? What does that mean?
That is.
Can anyone help us? What do we mean by category here? Can you help us, Bob?
Function.
It's not the function, it's the kind or the type of answer I want. Let me give you an example, guys. Look, a very simple example, okay? Nurses, or so, let's say these types of patients have been prescribed, okay, blank. So what is the answer going to be here, guys?
Medication.
Is that difficult to know that, or come on, you all know that, right? It's easy,
No.
easy, okay? But when I find my keyword, imagine I find my keyword here. Now I'm looking for a
Type of
medication,
Category.
right? Okay. Sometimes the category will be a number, right? Maybe the question will say, how long should the patient stay in the hospital? What's my category?
Number.
A number. So I find my keyword, right? I find end, I find cease, and then I'm going, okay, so I'm looking for a number. Where's the number? All right. So this is how you can answer questions quickly. Okay, scanning for keywords and then keeping in your mind the category, looking for the category of information, you find the answer. It's much easier. Now this we will talk about. When are we going to talk about this one, guys? Tomorrow. Okay, I can't do everything today. It's very complicated, isn't it, part A? It's very, very complicated in terms of strategy. Today, we're going to focus instead on, what are we going to look instead at? Maybe you're bored of this one already. I think this is really important. Come on, is this important or not, step 1? What do you guys think?
Yes.
It is, right? And why is it so important? Why do we need to practice this?
Because it will save time.
Yeah, if we're always looking in the wrong texts, we're never going to pass the exam, right? We've got to be looking in the right texts. We've got to decide, oh yes, it's here or it's here, right? I do not want to be looking 1, 2, 3, 4. That's very bad, okay? So today we're going to look at this in more detail, and I have prepared some material so you guys can practice with me, analyzing text. Also, I've got homework, so you can analyze 4 texts for homework, okay? So let's get into this a little bit more. Who saw my class yesterday? Afra, did you see it? Maddie, did you see my class yesterday?
No, I was working yesterday.
Well, we were covering a similar topic, so let's review this now. Okay, so I'm going to ask Hussein. Could you say hello, Hussein? Or Maddie?
Yes, yes, I'm here.
When we analyze the texts, we are, by analysis, what do we mean analysis? What are we trying to do?
Differentiate or separate.
When we read, we are trying to see the differences, right? Differentiate. And there's only 3 ways really that you can see differences between texts. What are those 3 ways? Hussein, what are the 3 ways that I can...
The difference, the keywords, we are going to compare the keywords with
words. So maybe I see a keyword here and it's like, oh, that's very unique. I'm going to remember that. Now I have differentiated the text a little bit. Good. What about Andrea? Could you say hello, Andrea, or Edita? Eli? Any other ways to separate the texts?
Main idea.
The title.
Main idea, okay. And this one I'm going to put in red. Why am I going to put that one in red? Everyone. Rebecca? It's the most
important.
So we'll practice this one a lot. The 3rd way, also very useful. Anyone?
Function.
Function.
I really can't think of any other way that you can analyze a text quickly, right? You can think about the main idea or the topic. This is like what it's about, what it is about, right? If I watch the World Cup, what is the World Cup about? What's the main idea of the World Cup?
Football.
Okay, so that's what we're talking about. That's the main idea, right? Keywords is the opposite. Keywords is looking at specific words, all right? Function is answering the question, what is this doing to the reader? Okay, now I'm going to go into more detail today with this. I'll give you some examples. You can ask me questions, and then we will practice analyzing texts, okay? Because it's step 1. It's really important. It's knowing where things are, okay? You're making a menu, aren't you? You're like making a little menu for the answers, okay? So let's get started. We're going to start, I think, with main idea, okay? We'll start with this one, and I'm going to zoom in. Can you all see this clearly? Is that text too small?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's think about main idea then. So I always say maybe there's more, but really I can only think of 4 ways to find the main idea. Bianca, what are they, please, Bianca? Or Virginia? Hilal, what are the main ways to find the idea?
First sentence.
First sentence. Okay,
Heading.
first sentence. So you read
Heading
the sentence.
Yeah.
Heading or subheading, whatever you want to call
Yeah,
it.
subheading.
Heading, right? What else?
Repeating words.
Repeated words.
Thematic words.
And
Yeah.
thematic words. Okay, so we're going to explain this here. Subheading, what does subheading mean, guys? What is that subheading? What does that mean?
It's like a title.
It's just a title, isn't it?
Smaller than title.
Do we have a subheading here?
No.
No.
There isn't one, right? If there was one, it would be here, wouldn't it? And it would say tetanus, blah, 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 here, right? So here there is no heading, okay? Just to give you guys an example, do we have headings here? I know this is very small, but can you see any headings? Yeah, there's a heading.
Yeah, I can see it, but I can't.
Here's a heading. Here's a heading. I know it's very small, but you can see the heading, okay? So usually the heading is the best way to give you the main idea. Why? Why is the heading the best one? Easy, right?
It's easy to find.
That is the main idea. What is in the heading?
That's why we do headings. The whole reason why we write a heading is to give the main idea. Okay, try and keep your microphones off, guys. But sometimes there is no heading. So Bianca is saying we should read the first sentence. Do you all agree with that? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Here I can read this, right? I read this sentence. Maybe I can get the main idea here, right? Here's another tip. Read, you can read more than one. Read if there's different paragraphs.
If the time left us.
Yeah, you have to do it quickly, but it's possible to read more than one if you want.
Yes.
Not everything, but you could read first sentences, right, of para. Okay, so that's the technique for finding the main idea. What about repeated words? It's very simple, right? Look, guys, can you see this here? Tetanus.
Work is scan.
Tetanus. Tetanus. What do you think this text is about, guys?
Tetanus.
Right? So actually, this isn't very helpful in this example, but there's I'm just giving you an example of how to do this. Is this clear, guys? Repeated words like this. That's what we mean by repeated words. Okay. Now, the only thing I think that people sometimes get confused about is thematic words. So, Edita, could you tell us, or Alexandra, could you tell us what do we mean by thematic words? And everyone else, if you just keep your microphone off, please. Someone has a very noisy microphone. We can hear you. Okay, so Edita, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, so
I just think thematic words, maybe, you know, something connected to that repeated words that can connect to it.
It's like repeated, but they're not the same words. It's the same theme.
Yeah, the same.
What does theme mean, though? What's a theme? Can anyone help her? What does theme mean?
Category.
It
Group of something.
Just means main idea. It just means main idea. So look, guys, it's easy. I always use the same example. Dog, cat, fish. What's the theme?
Pet.
Animals.
Animals or pets even. Even pets is very good. Okay, so bread, fish again,
Food.
milk, right? Food of some kind. Okay. Okay. What about this now? Microphone's off, guys. What about this? In our example, we have some thematic words, don't we? What's the theme of these words here, guys?
Symptoms.
Symptoms.
So in this example, this is a very good way to get the main idea, symptoms. Okay, so 4 ways to get the main idea. Is this clear so far to everyone? Anyone want to ask questions about this? Yeah? Okay, can I do a quick test then? Is that all right?
Yes.
This is not going to be a very difficult test, but it's a test nonetheless. All right, so let's have a look at this. I prepared this before. We'll come back here. This is coming later. Can everyone see this here?
Yes, we can see.
All right, so I've used this before, I think, in the course, but I just want to demonstrate this now. So Rebecca's going to say hello. Hey, Rebecca.
Hello.
Rebecca, what's the main idea of this text?
About cheese.
Well, more than that, actually. Why
I like cheese.
Why I like cheese. And how did you get the main idea there so fast?
There is a subtitle.
It's a subheading, right? Or a subtitle, or just a title, whatever you want to call it. Okay. All right. So what about this one though now? Petruta, can you say hello?
Hello. It's about Manchester team.
How did you get the answer?
From the first sentence.
Okay, so from the first sentence, I suppose you could get the main idea, but I think there's a better way to get the main idea here, guys. How do we get the main idea here?
Repeated words. Manchester.
Fairly repeated, isn't it? Look, Manchester. There's more here. I can't even see, right? So I'm going to say repeated words, right? So you see Manchester repeated many times, and Manchester United as well. Okay. All right. What about microphones off, please? Margil, could you say hello? Or Paula? Or Simona?
Hello.
Hello. I know this is very simple, but again, what's the main idea here?
Scrambled eggs.
Okay, how did you get that? How did you get that so fast?
Read the first sentence.
Is that right, guys? Would this be a good example of how to get the main idea here? Is it
Yes.
first sentence? I think she's right. I think that's the best way here, right? First sentence gives you the main idea. Actually, there's not really any repeated words, is there?
Yes.
No repeated words here, but we
Numbers. We
understand that this is scrambled eggs. Now numbers is key word, so that's something different. Okay, so by reading the first sentence, sometimes you can get the main idea. The main idea is scrambled eggs. Hussein, what's the main idea of the last one?
the symptoms, some signs of the
symptoms, yeah, or signs, yeah, signs and symptoms if you want. I'm going to be lazy and not do that, but it could be signs and symptoms. Okay. How did we get the main idea, guys? How did we get that?
the thematic word.
So I'm just giving you very simple examples. Later in this class, we will look at something really, really difficult. Okay, but I'm just trying to show you what I mean. Sometimes we're looking for a repeated word. Sometimes we're looking for the first sentence. Sometimes the heading. Sometimes thematic words. Now, guys, what's the best one here? Of course, the best one is
the heading.
This one, right? If I don't have this one, which one is the best one?
Repeated
word.
No.
First sentence.
First sentence.
Try all of them. Try all of them together, right? So if you have the heading, you can stop, right? Oh, why I like cheese. This must be about why I like cheese, okay? But if you don't have that, look for repeated words and first sentence and thematic words, okay? Do as much as you can in 30 seconds. Is that clear, guys?
Yes.
All right. Well, I want to show you an example then. This is a very silly example, but I think it's important. Let's look at this. Key point. What's the main idea of this text?
Dog.
Dog. Okay. Now, what if I put here cat, 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 cat?
It's thematic.
Cat.
Bits.
What's the main idea now?
Dog.
Still dog.
Okay. I would say it's still dog, isn't it? What if I say, what about now?
Dog.
Dog.
But
Repetition of dog is too much than cat.
this happens in OET, doesn't it? Right? What I want to say here, guys, what I'm trying to say with this example is, can we have more than one main idea?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
But what if it's like this? Fish. So in this case, no problem. Dog, cat. That's my main idea, right? I can write it down. What if we have, fish here, and we have lion here, and we have lots of different animals? What now?
Can we say thematic word?
Maybe you can look at thematic. Okay, I'm going to change. I'm going to make it even worse, though. Now we're going to have milk, tree.
No, it is
house.
Now the dog is the main.
Dog.
Dog.
Piece of advice. Let me give you some advice. In this situation, in OET, that's your main idea, right? And you write that down. Okay. This one, we're going to use
Keywords.
Keywords, right? You don't have to have the main idea for every paragraph. Does that make sense, guys? Just get the biggest one. You might have some paragraphs with mixed ideas in them. That's okay. Keywords. Does that make sense, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's talk about keywords then. All right. So this brings us nicely to keywords. When we're talking about keywords, it's a way of analyzing the text, but it's the complete opposite of main idea. It's the opposite. What are we doing when we're looking for keywords? Are we thinking about overall?
No.
No, we're zooming in, aren't we? We're zooming and we're looking for specific words. And we're going to, what's that? What do we call this? What am I doing now?
Writing.
Underline.
Find keywords. Okay. So when I do this test, and I do it regularly when I'm teaching, I very often do the test before class. just to keep myself sharp, okay? I will write the main idea. I will write that down, maybe here, to help me. But when it comes to keywords, I underline them because I don't have time to write down keywords. Come on, okay? So if I'm going to underline them, how many keywords should I underline?
4 or 5.
4 or 5.
Okay, no more. If I underline 10 words, that's really bad. Why?
Waste of time.
It's a waste of time, isn't it? Why? Why is it a waste of time?
Not
to do
helping
10?
us.
No one can remember 10 words, right? It's not gonna, you know what I mean? If I have all
confused.
so when we're choosing keywords, we're really just trying to. Bianca's here. I think Bianca, you said this to me. You said a word which I love now, and I'm going to always use this. Okay, we want suspicious looking words. What does that mean, Bianca or Margil?
Something that make you to think twice, to be suspicious about it, to look.
They're going to
around
ask
it.
me
Yeah.
later on. They will ask me about that. They'll probably ask me about that. Okay, suspicious, like a detective, guys. So numbers are often very suspicious, aren't they? If I see a number here, probably they might ask me how long, how many, how much, right? So it's a good keyword. What else makes a good keyword? You can all shout out if you know. Looking for numbers, jargon, right? Or terminology is the same idea, right? Terminology. What else, guys?
Dates.
Capital letters.
Names.
I'm going to put numbers and dates here. No, in fact, I'll put it here. Dates. Capital
Brackets.
letters.
Protection.
Names.
What is capital letters?
Like NHS.
Like
NHS.
some abbreviations. Yes.
Capitals. What else?
Brands.
Something in brackets.
Brackets.
Right.
Okay, so what do we mean by brackets? Can anyone see any brackets here?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Sometimes called
Sometimes
From the
lockjaw.
muscle.
Sometimes called lockjaw.
Lockjaw. Now, this is a very good example, lockjaw, because has anyone done this test before? The tetanus test. Probably you've done. Many of you have done this before. That's one of the answers, isn't it, in the test? Right. So you can predict the answer sometimes with keywords. Lockjaw, it's in brackets, and that's the answer to one of the test questions. Anything suspicious, guys, anything standing out, underline it, but no more than 4 or 5. Does that make sense, everyone? Is that clear?
Yes.
All right, so the last way we can analyze, I'm not going to do so much on this because I've got many classes on the website. What is the last one?
Function.
Function.
Okay, so what's the difference between a function and a main idea? For example, treatment, is that a main idea or is that a function? Treatment.
Main idea.
Main idea.
An idea. Okay, what about this? Diagnosis.
Main idea.
Main idea.
Idea. Symptoms.
Main
Main
idea.
Main idea.
What about this? Classification.
Function.
Function.
Why is that one? Why do I want to say that's different from main idea? Why is a classification different from main idea? Can anyone tell me? As an example.
It's like an action about thematic, you know.
Yeah, about the theme, right? So you could
Yeah.
have a classification of treatment. You can have a classification of diagnosis. You can have a classification of anything. Classification of Harry Potter, classification of football, classification of tea, right? It's not the topic. It's the function. It's what the reader does. So what the text does to the reader, okay? Does. Now, I'm not going to focus on this today, but would anyone like to watch a class on this? Would anyone here like to see a video on this topic? Silence. No, Alan, no more function. Well, let me just quickly show. Can everyone see this here? Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Right, so I'm not going to do this today because it needs a whole class only for this idea. But look, use the search bar. If you want to do a class on function, text function, just type that into the search bar and you will see some classes on this here. Okay, part A, text analysis, language features of text function. It's also in topics as well at the top. All right. Today we're going to leave it just, and I'll test you guys. Some of you guys know this already. I'll test you when we practice. But just for today, guys, you just need to think this is what the text does to the reader. Okay. We will also give you some examples. Can anyone here think of another example of a function of a text?
Definition.
Oh, instructions.
Yeah.
What else? Information.
Advice.
Guidelines.
Guidelines. Guidelines and advice I always put together. It's the same idea, right? Same function.
Definition.
Definitions. I'm going to put etc. Okay. What's the function of this text here? Does anyone know what the function here is?
Is definition first?
We have a definition at the start, don't we? Tetanus
Yeah.
is a severe disease, so we have a definition here. And then what do we have?
Symptoms.
This is also definition, actually. Two definitions.
Information.
Symptoms is the main idea, isn't it, Sarab? Okay, so
Yeah.
this would be, the function is for
Information.
information, right? So there's two functions in this text. We have definition in purple, and then we have information. Okay, why is that useful? Because it can help us to differentiate the texts. And remember, we want to differentiate the text because we want to find the answer, don't we? The more that we can see the differences here, the faster we can find the answers. Okay, any questions? Yes, go on.
So can you repeat the last one, sir? I didn't get last. Yes, sir. This one. A. Text A.
Text A, this one. The two definitions here and information here. Okay. But as I said, we won't spend too long on this because I want to focus now for 15 minutes, guys, on keywords and main ideas. Okay. Maybe a bit of function as well. If I show you a text now, guys, and if I give you 30 seconds, do you all think you can find me the main idea?
Yes, sir.
Does anyone have a problem doing it in 30 seconds? Does some of you think maybe that's not enough time?
We try our best.
It should be okay. We were doing it yesterday, right? So here we go, 30 seconds, guys. All right. Remember, main idea, we're looking for subheading, first sentence, repeated words, thematic words, keywords, numbers, jargon, dates, capitals, brackets. Okay. Microphones off. Again, someone's had a very noisy microphone all the way through. I think it's you, Afra, or Hussein, I'm not sure. But here we go. All right. So here's the first text. Can everyone see this here? Do we need 30 seconds for this one?
No.
No.
Yes and no. You can get the main idea very easily, but think about keywords as well. Think about function as well. Okay. 30 seconds has already started. We've got 20 more seconds. I'm going to ask one of you here to explain everything about this text now. It goes so fast, doesn't it? So 5 more seconds. Going to choose a random person. Neslihan, could you say hello, Neslihan, or Safi?
Hello.
Hello. So main ideas, what are they? What's the main idea here?
Jaw tumors, malignant jaw tumors, and
yeah.
being.
So this is jaw one main idea, and
Second being jaw tumors. Yeah.
Yeah, pronunciation is benign. Yeah.
Benign.
Okay, so those are the main ideas. Easy. How do we get it? From the heading. Okay. What about keywords, though? Can anyone tell me what should
Tumor.
Ooh, who said that?
Tumor. I say that it's the
Humor. We already have that. I don't think that's a good keyword. I think that's not a good keyword. Come on, something unique, guys. Something like a number, jargon. Anyone else? X-ray. Okay, what else? Can anyone else see?
Most common.
Soap.
Osteoscroma.
This, yeah, this would be good, wouldn't it?
carcinoma.
Anything suspicious, right? Jargon, terminology, X-ray, right? 1, 2, 3. I can have 2 more. What should I choose? You tell me.
Soap Bible.
Yeah, bubble. That's a very. It's just strange, isn't it? What is a soap bubble?
Not
It's
sure.
definitely suspicious, isn't it? Like, why are they putting soap bubble here? Like, that's a very specific thing. So I'm going to put this here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe I'm done. Maybe one more. Okay. It could be anything. So those are my keywords. What's the function of this? Now it's difficult. Is this giving me advice? Is it giving me information?
Definition.
Information.
I think can be classification.
Classifications? I don't think this is classifications. I would say this is information.
Information.
You got these two different types. I suppose those are
Yeah, and also then, for example, benign is odontoma and ameloblastoma, so other type of tumors. And then first one is squamous and osteosarcoma, so it's like a classification of tumors.
saying there's different types here. I think that's a very good point, actually. Okay, but guys, with function, it doesn't matter if you can't do this. I think Bianca's done very, very well here. Don't worry if you can't do the function side of it. Go and watch my class if you want to know more about this. I think probably classification or information would be good here. Now, that one's easy because you got the headings. I started with an easy one. Are you ready for one with no heading? 3, 2, write it down. Imagine this is the exam. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, all texts are about skin abscesses. Okay, so that is not very useful. 30 seconds. When you finish, type in the chat box and say finished. When you think you have the answer. Keywords, main idea, try and think about function as well. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Simona, could you say hello? Or Geeta? Sorry, I haven't spoken to you much, you guys. Simona and Geeta, come on, give us the main idea here. What's the main idea?
It's on bacteria.
Just Geeta and Simona? No?
Yes.
Come on, guys. Yeah, fantastic. So Geeta, I'll give you a clue. Repeated words. I'll give you the main idea here.
Bacteria, I told.
Bacteria.
Maybe bacteria, I guess.
Skin abscess. Reduce the risk of skin
Maybe
abscess developing.
The main idea of this is not bacteria, is it? Right? It's
I think it's
skin. Ah, Geeta?
Maybe this one for to prevent to spreading bacteria, something like that.
In abscesses.
To prevent.
Washing hands.
So Geeta, how did you get to prevent spreading?
Reduce.
Because
the skin is clean.
I saw reduce the skin abscess developing, something like that.
So first line. First line?
Yes.
First line. Also, I'm seeing repeated words, guys. Does anyone see repeated words here? Risk.
Yes. Risk.
There's many. What does anyone see the other risk here?
Skin.
Skin.
Okay. Let me show you what the main idea is, guys. Right? I've got the official main idea here. It is. Risks of skin abscesses. Well done if you got risks. I think you can get it from reading the first line. You can get it from the repetition of the word risk. I think it's. I can't see where it is now. Hazardous. There we go. What does hazardous mean, guys?
It is
Dangerous.
Dangerous.
Really dangerous.
So it's almost like thematic, actually. Okay, but risks. Okay, what's the key words I should choose, guys? What's my key words here? Words. Anything unusual here, Hussein?
Squeeze.
Yes, it's all bacteria.
No, that's not going to stand out, is it? Bacteria can be repeated many times.
Swimming pools.
Unusual.
Swimming pools.
Swimming pools.
Squid.
Oh,
There we go.
Hands.
Yeah,
Hands.
squeeze.
Hands.
Common equipment.
Ooh.
Razor,
Knitting,
toothbrush.
Zara. Yeah, razors. Okay. Obviously, we're guessing here, but probably they'll ask us questions, won't they, about swimming pools and about gyms even, right? It's very possible they will ask us questions about these things. For example, I'm going to make a question now. It's easy to make the question, right? The question is, where is it common to, right? To what?
To get.
Infected mosquito.
Yeah, exactly. Skin abscesses or infections, right? Go to text B, scan, you find it. Okay, so those are keywords. What about the function of the text, guys? Anything? function-wise?
Advice.
I think it is
Recommendation.
advice. Yeah, it can be hazardous. If you use tissues to wipe away, you can reduce the risk of. Does anyone see that this is a kind of advice thing? These are things you should do, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Reduce the risk.
Avoid.
Okay, next one. As I said, we've got lots to do. So microphones off. 3, 2, 1. What about this? Again, it's skin abscences, but this time a bit more tricky maybe. 30 seconds, I'm going to ask one person to tell me. So microphones off, 30 seconds. There's no heading here, so look for repeated words. Read the first line. Right, there's 2 first lines. Quickly read them. Any repeated words? Any thematic words? What's going on here? 10 more seconds. 5 seconds. All right, I'm going to ask for Santinda and Rabia, editor. Can you guys say hello?
I think
Go on, Rabia.
sepsis. Type skin.
Now, of course, from the first line, actually, now, is this a main idea or is this the function of the text? What do we think, guys?
The functions.
Right? The main idea is just abscesses. The main idea
Like a classification.
yeah, it's not very useful, but the function is
Classification.
Well done, well done. Now, is there only one thing here, though?
No,
What do we
symptoms.
see here? Yeah, exactly. Is this the same, guys, or different?
That's the same, but this
Different.
Different. We've got 2 things, right? Here we have a classification, that's the function, all right? But this is not classification. What is it talking about?
Symptoms.
Symptoms.
Right? I just copy pasted that in. So I know that, right? This is about something completely new. But is that a problem? No, right? We have 2 things in the text. And I just want to remind you guys, often students think that there will be only one thing. Of course, there can be more than one thing, right? Here we have 2 things. Quite different, actually, you see? One is symptoms, one is classification of abscesses. Are there any symptoms here? Maybe, I suppose. Actually, I shouldn't have asked that question. Okay, so anyway, classification, well done, but we have symptoms here. Okay, we're going to do another one. I've got, as I said, I've got a few more. Now you're going to have 20 seconds. We're going to finish. If you could just keep your microphone off, Santinda, we can hear you there, if that's all right. All of them are about this topic, right? So you can't tell me that is the main idea. Focus on first lines, look for any repeated words. I'm seeing lots of this repeated, for example. What do you see here? But this is Bartholin cyst, so that's not a good main idea. 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, guys, what do we have here? What's the anyone? Main idea.
Treatment.
Treatment. It's a type of treatment, but read the first line. What is it talking about?
Balloon
Insertion.
The first line is very, very useful, isn't it? The first line can be very, very useful. So we've got I think that's the main idea, but also what's the function of this?
Instruction.
It's instructions, isn't it? Okay. So I can't remember what the exact title was, but it's instructions on balloon catheter insertion, right? Instructions, well done. What about the keywords? Just to finish off, guys, what keywords should we choose? Yeah, there you go. Okay, so because we have brackets and we also have
4 weeks.
jargon, we have numbers. Excellent. What else is a good keyword?
Local anesthetic.
Yeah, why not local anesthetic? Yeah. Or this one as well. What does that mean? I have no idea. This is jargon, right? What else? 2 more.
4 weeks. 4 weeks.
4 weeks is a great one, isn't it? We've got this one again here. Well, that's repeated, isn't it? That's actually repeated. Oops. It could be many things. Could be many things.
Plastic tube.
Yeah, there could be more. All right. Remember, with keywords, you're just trying to predict something suspicious. Okay. Numbers, brackets, terminology, jargon, anything like this. Now, I'm going to finish this class, okay? But the class is going to finish with a piece of homework. All right, this is your homework, guys. Tomorrow, we're going to do a mock test. 20 questions. Here are the texts. All right, I'm going to say goodbye to people on YouTube because you can't see this.